guys, right, in my tray I've got a few things that I'm going to be dissecting with you. I'll do them one at a time, but for now I'm just going to show you what I've got. So the first thing I've got is I've got a chicken leg. At the end of the day, a lot of us will probably eat chicken legs unless you're a vegetarian, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to dissect it open properly so you can see the cartilage, the ligaments and the tendons, and how this leg actually together coordinates the movement. I've also got a kidney here. This is a kidney here. I think this is from a cow because it's quite big. Our kidneys are really important for cleaning the blood. They filter out all the waste products, things like urea and other chemicals, excess water and stuff, and then they filter it all out and it goes then next to the bladder, and then obviously when the bladder's full you go for a wee. The last thing I've got here is I've got heart. I'm going to dissect open the heart for you. For Key Stage 4 you need to know about the structure of the heart and the main blood vessels going in and out of the heart. So I'm going to talk to you about that. There's going to be different activities on all of these on Microsoft Teams, so go along, have a little look, and I hope you enjoy my videos. Right, so dissection number 1 is the heart. Now the heart is obviously a really important organ for the body, because it's involved with pumping the blood around our body and delivering all the nutrients that we need, getting rid of the waste products from the organs of the body. So it's really important that it works really well. For Key Stage 4 you need to know the structure of it, you need to know the main vessels going in and out of it, you also need to know about coronary heart disease and treatments to help with that. You could also learn a little bit about heart transplants as well. So if your heart completely failed, obviously you'd die, so if you were suffering from really bad heart failure, then you could have a heart transplant from a donor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start talking to you about like what bits where. Okay, so if you have a look at the heart here, you can see there's a line just where my fingers go in here, and this divides the left hand side and the right hand side of the heart. It's actually called the septum, that bit there. If you're born with a hole in the heart, this muscle goes all the way through from front to back, and you could have had a little hole there that meant that the blood could go from the left hand side to the right hand side of the heart, and that causes like a few problems because not as much oxygen is being delivered around the body as it needs to be. So when you do a dissection you look for the septum. This is the right hand side of the heart here, and the left hand side of the heart is over this side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a go at opening up the right hand side of the heart first so you can have a look inside it, and then I'll go for the left. The left's bigger so you might be able to see a bit more. Before I cut into it though, you can see these bits here that I'm just pulling on here now. These are called blood vessels, and with those you need to know the vena cava, the aorta, the pulmonary artery and the pulmonary vein. So I can see 2 out of the 4, but normally when they cut a heart, because it's come from a butcher's, they try and cut those really short so you can't really see them very well, because at the end of the day they wouldn't look nice on a dinner plate. Okay, so right hand side of the heart first. We're going to cut in down the side of it here, and we're going to try and open it up almost like a book. Now the white stuff that you can see on the outside is actually like fatty tissue, and that's there to protect the heart from any damage. Obviously if you're overweight, then the bigger that you are, the more fat you have building up on there. So I think this pig was quite healthy. The brown bits that you can see are the actual muscle tissue itself. So I'm just going to keep on cutting in. So we're inside the right hand side of the heart. If you have a look at the muscle wall here, it's really, really thin. Now the right hand side of the heart has to pump the blood up to the lungs. So the heart and the lungs are really close to each other. So that's why the wall's really thin. You don't need big muscles if you're not going to do a big job. This is the septum that I talked to you about before. So the blood that goes in the right hand side of the heart doesn't go in the left hand side of the heart. It doesn't mix. Okay, and then you'll see the tendons here, commonly called the heartstrings, and they attach onto this bit here. Can you see that bit of like bloody tissue, like cling film, on the tip of my finger there? It's got a nice black blood clot on it as well. There's the blood clot, look there. Okay, that's lovely. So the heart valves, if I just show you that again, can you see that nicely there? So the heart valves stop the blood from going backwards when the heart heart squeezes, because the contraction of the heart starts at the bottom, it squeezes the blood up and then out, and so these shut because you've got the top chamber here is the atrium. You can't really see that because the butchers tend to cut it off, again, to make it look nice on a dinner plate. So the blood goes into the atrium. This would be the right atria. Then it goes down into the right ventricle, and then the blood squeezes out and it goes up through the pulmonary artery, because arteries carry blood away from the heart, and it goes up to the lungs. So these valves are really important to stop the backward flow of the blood. Okay, I'm going to move on now, and I'm going to open up the left-hand side of the heart because it will be easier for you to see inside the left-hand side. Okay, so this is the left-hand side of the heart. The first thing you'll notice, hopefully, is that this is a bigger chamber inside there, because this side is the left-hand side of the heart. It's going to pump blood to the rest of the body. So this muscle, side of the muscle, has to pump blood to the ends of your fingers, to the ends of your toes, and it has to push the blood quite far. So because it has to push it quite far, it's a bigger chamber, and it's also got thicker muscular walls here, because bigger muscles can obviously provide a bigger force. So that's why the left-hand side of the heart has thicker muscular walls there. If I just flip it over, show you the left-hand side so that you can compare, hopefully you can see that it is much thinner. Okay. You can also see the valves here. So again, you've got the tendons, the little strings, and attached to it are the heart valves. Okay, you've got 2 heart valves there. That one's opened up really nice. Can you see right inside there? Can you see 2? Okay, and then the blood would go up and out through a blood vessel. Now this blood vessel here, because the blood is going to go out, is called the aorta. So the left hand side of the heart, the blood goes in through the pulmonary vein. Veins take blood back to the heart, and it's come from the lungs, so it's pulmonary. So it goes in through the pulmonary vein, down through the atria at the top, the left atria, into the left ventricle, which is this bit down here, and it's pumped out through the aorta, which is the major artery, taking blood away from the heart. It pumps the blood around to the rest of the body, delivering the oxygen that those cells and tissues need to be able to function properly. Okay, so that's your heart. Hope you really enjoyed that. The last thing to say is around the outer edge, you can see, I don't know if you can see like really closely to it, but there's lots of branches on there, and those would be the arteries feeding the heart itself, so the coronary arteries. Okay, because the heart doesn't get the energy that it needs from the blood that goes inside these chambers. It actually has the blood delivered through the coronary arteries, feeding the heart. So if you get blockages in the coronary arteries, it can cause tissues to die, it can cause heart failure, it can actually lead to a heart attack. So that's why things like statins are prescribed to people to stop them from getting ill in the first place and having that damage. You might have to have stents put in if you have suffered a heart attack in the future. That's what a patient might be fitted with. So your extra challenges are online on Microsoft Teams, and they cover the structure and function of the heart, and also looking at treatments for heart disease. Right, so this one here, I've already shown it before, it's the kidney. Now, you know why kidney beans are called kidney beans now, because of the shape of them, so it's got the same kind of shape. When you dissect, you cut along this edge and open it up like a book. This bit here that you can see here, this is actually called the ureter. So this connects the kidney to the bladder. So the kidney filters the blood and produces the urine, and it comes out the ureter and then goes into the bladder. You've got 2 kidneys, so you've got one either side with the bladder in the middle, and then when the bladder's full, you get the urge to go for a wee. So I'm just going to stop the video for a second so that I can dissect it open for you, and I'll show you what's inside. Okay, so I've cut it open. It's a bit stinky, it definitely smells different compared to the heart, but it's got a different job as well, and this one does clean the blood and make the urine. So I've cut it open, and I'm going to open it up to show you what's inside. I said this was the ureter here, okay, that feeds to the bladder. Now if I open it up, you can hopefully see there's 3 different sections. Now this bit here, this sort of browner, sort of duller colour on the outer edge that you see at the top and the bottom, can you see that? is called the cortex. Now, the blood that goes into the kidney from the renal artery will actually put the blood around here, and then that feeds into a thing called a Bowman's capsule, and the liquid part, the plasma of the blood, goes into the Bowman's capsule and then feeds down into this next layer here. This next layer is a bit of a pinker kind of layer. Do you see the pinker layer compared to the greyer bit? And that has what's called a loop of Henle. So the filtrate, the plasma, goes down into the loop of Henle, and this is where a lot of chemicals swap places basically, and the kidney is filtering the blood and cleaning it. All right, it then comes back up here and then it feeds down through tubes into this whitish bit, which is called the renal pelvis. The renal pelvis then connects in the centre here. All this network sort of comes together, binds together here at the end of my finger, and that's where the ureter begins. The ureter then comes out of the kidney and connects to the bladder. So the renal artery takes the blood into the kidney. The renal vein takes the blood out of the kidney that has now been cleaned and goes back to the heart, and the ureter takes the urine to the bladder. All right, so that's my kidney dissection. We have two of them. They're located on your back. If you were to put your hands on your hips and your thumbs towards the middle of your back, that's the rough position of where your kidneys are. Right, so this is the chicken leg dissection. So with the chicken leg, the first thing you need to do is remove all the skin so that you can see the muscles underneath. So that's what I'm going to do now. So I will just get on with that and I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so I've got the chicken skin off so we can see the leg bit better now. So this is like obviously the thigh meat that you'd eat, and then you've got like the actual leg itself, okay? And so this bit here would really be kind of like the knee. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little look at the joint between these two major bones here. What we're going to look for is we're going to look for the cartilage. The job of the cartilage is to protect the bones as they rub together, because otherwise they'd wear away. We're going to look for the ligaments that hold the bones together, so we should see a little bit between the two bones, and also to hold the muscle onto the bone to allow the muscle to contract and relax and get the bone to actually move. We're going to look for a thing called a tendon. Now you probably noticed this before if you've eaten like chicken drumsticks at KFC, sorry for the vegetarians. There's a little bit of like white gristly bit down here, and that is actually the tendon. It holds the muscle to the bone. So ligaments will be in here, tendon will be down here, and hopefully we'll see the cartilage as well. So I'm just going to cut away the muscle, and then hopefully we should see those bits. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, so what I've done is I've just cut away a lot of the muscle tissue so that we can see more of the structure of the actual knee and the leg. If you have a look at this bit of muscle here, this bit of muscle goes down to a point here where it's like really, really white. That is a tendon, and that is connecting this muscle to this part of the bone here. So if I was to cut it, the muscle should then come away. It's very tricky to do these kinds of dissections at home. Obviously I haven't got my dissection kit from school. And there we go. That part of the muscle is now disconnected from the foot, which would make it incredibly, all but near impossible for this chicken to walk anymore. So that bit that I just cut was the tendon, and it attached the muscle to the bone. So I'm just going to open up this bit a bit more now so we can see the bone structures, because where the two bones meet, we should be able to see the ligament and the cartilage. Okay? Alright, so I'm down there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the ligament that I've just exposed. As I flip it, it will be a little bit gruesome because this bit looks a little bit dirty. There's like blood clots and things like that on the bone. So just to warn you really quickly. So there we go. Right, can I just have a close-up on this bit here? So what we've got is we've got the knee and we've got the two bones, okay? And bones need to be held together so that they can actually work. It needs to be connected to a muscle, but the bones need to be connected to each other as well. So hopefully as I move this up and down, you can actually focus on the white strip between the two bones. That's the ligament that we're looking for. And I've worked really hard to expose it. It's just here underneath the scalpel blade. You see that white strip there? That's the ligament, and that's holding the two bones together. Now I'm going to have a look, see if I can expose some of the cartilage for you. So I'm just going to remove the bones away from each other. Okay, as I'm taking them apart, you can see the ligaments really clearly now. So if you couldn't see that one that I was focusing on before, there's quite a few in there for you to have a look at, okay? Remove the bones away from each other here. So now I've exposed this end of the bone here. See how it's white? And it's got a different kind of texture to it. You can feel it, I don't know if you can see it, to this part of the bone here. This is a bit more rubbery at the end. In the rubbery bit, the white bit is the cartilage. So when the bones are rubbing together as the chicken was moving its leg, then the job of the cartilage is to protect the bones so that they don't rub away and wear away at each other. So that's the cartilage. So hopefully you've enjoyed this dissection. You've seen the cartilage, the ligaments and the tendon and the muscles as well as the bone. Thank you.